I have to ask this question. Okay, duck. Thank you. As I am using normal Nova for this rather than Nova Prime because I typed in the search Nova and I stupidly pressed enter, so I just threw it on Nova because I'm not going to use hers. But has anybody else noticed the slight weirdness going on here? Also, where... okay. I can read. Where's Valkyria? Anybody else notice that it only seems to be frames that have a prime variant that Helminth is actually bringing here? Because every time he has come, or his thing has changed, that's every week, and I do not know what you needed for that, I wasn't really paying attention. It always seems to be the prime that gets used. Or at least it's the primes I use. I don't think I have... And you know, I'm just going to do that. Ever actually had a frame turn up that hasn't had a prime variant? Is this something everybody else has experienced? Or is this just me? I have my queries and theories about this. I mean, prime example, Oberon. Let's go see Oberon, and I will do another week of this just to kind of see, because every time I do this, I put it onto a prime frame. Oberon. Prime. Ah, yes. And now I know there is a lot of primes, but I haven't had... Zaku? Technically? Hang on, I'm trying to think here. I did have Grendel. So that would be a non-prime frame. Biotics again? Really? Ah, damn it. Just use that. Really don't want to use those. They're annoying. I hate biotics. That'll have to do. I hate Helminth. If I'm being brutally honest about this entire Invigoration system, having to do it every week, just for the weekly update stuff, is getting annoying. Simply because it is eating up resources like crazy. I had tons of everything stored up, and it's all pretty much gone at this point. I mean, I'm not going to do any of these because they will max it out, which means it is going to be a waste. Which is one thing I can advise to people. If you're going to be doing this every week to get a hold of that mutated Invigoration, I think I may just hold on to it and somehow make note that once every 3 weeks it's available. It's going to be annoying to do, yes, I completely agree. But, oh wait, who was it that had the one I wanted to try this week? That was primary damage, which means it had to be Valkyria. Yes, Valkyria. Because it was ability duration and sprint speed. I had that on Nidus Prime, and oh my god, it was absolutely amazing. I think it was movement speed. Oh, he was jumping like a frog. His height was... I never came across a room out where I didn't hit the ceiling. Not going open world with him. But it seems that most of them are primed, and I do think that this is down to, let's be honest, Ashe has a prime. Right? Atlas has a prime. Banshee has a prime. Baruch doesn't, but Chroma does. Ember has a prime. Equinox has a prime. Excalibur, we don't talk about him. Frost has a prime. Gora has a prime. Garuda doesn't. Gauze doesn't. Grendel doesn't. Harrow doesn't. Helminth doesn't. Hydroid, we don't talk about his either. Anoris does. Ivora does. Korra will soon. Yes. Sometime next year, I do believe. Lavos doesn't, Limbo does, Loki does, Mag does, Mesa does, Mirage does, Necros does, Neja does, Nidus now does, Nova does. Yeah, I think this is more of a Protea doesn't, and Revenant doesn't, but then it goes back on to who does until you hit Sevagoth who doesn't, and then Titania does, and Valkyria does. I think that's where this is coming from, because I'm seeing people turn around and saying that it's only prime frames that Helminth is allowed to invigorate. It's not, because I've had Wisp with an Invigoration. I've had Grendel with an Invigoration. Oh, I regret scrolling up. I've had Grendel with an Invigoration. I've had... Was it Protea that had an... No, I put one on Protea. Sevagoth, haven't seen him. What I haven't seen yet is Ureli, but what you have to remember is it is also completely random. It chooses the frames differently per person. The reason that it comes up saying that, or a lot of people are saying, Helminth only does Invigorations for frames that have prime variants is because nearly every frame now has a prime variant. Beforehand, yeah, there was a lot of frames that didn't have prime variants. Now, there is very few that don't. Well, it reset, and as you know, if you've watched any of my ability videos for the weekly reset, Protea doesn't have a prime, Revenant doesn't have a prime, and Harrow doesn't have a prime. It's almost like they knew that I was doing this, and they just kind of instantly turned around and said, yeah, okay, no. Because it's just simply down to the fact that there are more frames with primes than there is without. So no, it's not just frames that have a prime variant that are turning up for him. I am in the boat that a few people are in where the frames that I want Invigorations on haven't actually turned up. I have yet to invigorate Frost, for example. And I use Frost... I really can't say a lot anymore. Yes, feed Helminth. Woohoo! So what? I used to use Frost a lot, and I haven't used him in ages. Like, defense missions is pretty much all I use him for. But as you can see, Harrow has no prime. Not that I need to show that, but it's true. Harrow has no prime. Also, that's a lot of bile. I need to go Argon Crystal farming. Might be able to get all of them in there, or at least 4 of them in there before he's full, and they run out, because they are a great source of bile. But, as I mentioned before, nope, it's not just prime frames that are used for this. You can stop telling me that that is what will happen here and what is needed, because it's not. I've also just realised, yes, that was a waste, because that was already... Ah, son of a... Never mind. I was about to complain about that, but it would have been a complete waste, because it wasn't. It became done when I did him. It still had 1 dot at the end. Yes, I went back and actually checked on what I was doing. I thought I'd wasted 1 there. But no, Harrow doesn't just use primes. It may seem that way, but it's only down to the fact that there is more primes, and no, because people keep asking me this, I will just mention it really quickly. You cannot feed Helminth, when it comes to feeding him frames, prime frames. They are not accepted. It is normal frames only. And I do believe 60, okay, so you have had a Ureli, you greedy Helminth. You have 8 your fill. And with that, we'll leave this off here. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.